Hello, this is Attorney Brian Pendergraft with the Pendergraft Firm, and the topic for today's video is the process of working with a DC and Maryland deeds drafting attorney by Brian Pendergraft. That's me, of the Pendergraft Firm. And again, I'm an attorney that is licensed to practice law and drafts deeds for properties in both the District of Columbia and in Maryland. Disclaimer: this is legal information. This is not legal advice. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. By liking the video, you help boost me in the algorithm. And subscribe if you are into property law and real estate law and business law stuff, because I put out good stuff. Alrighty, so here is the quick outline of what we are going through. So there's the outline, and I guess you can see it. I'm not going to read the outline to you. I'm just going to get the work, but you feel free to pause the video and look at the outline. All right, point number one. This process is unique to us. So this video is a bit of a misnomer, because I do say it's like working with a DC and Maryland deeds attorney, but again, I'm only one attorney. So you may contact a different attorney, an attorney other than me, and their process may be entirely different than mine. So take a look at this process, see if you like it, and but feel free to talk to other attorneys and find one that you are the most comfortable with. Alrighty, so step one of working with the Pendergraft Firm on your deed. So that would be to contact us, and you can figure out ways to contact me through my website, TPF.legal/contact. It kind of has how you get in touch with me. I also put a link in the description as my phone, email, messenger app. There's quite a few ways to get in touch with me. All right, so after you get in contact with my firm, the first thing will be either me or an assistant will send you an electronic deed questionnaire. Now, the electronic deed questionnaire, it asks a lot of pertinent questions, like, is this as a gift or a sale? What is the relationship between the parties? What is the existing mortgage balance? And et cetera. It also asks other questions like, what the assessed value of the property? So I need this information in order to see if you qualify for any transfer tax exemptions and in order to generate a quote. So and it's going to be unique based on each property situation. For example, a parent-child deed is completely exempt from a transfers in let's say District of Columbia or in Prince George's County, Maryland. Or in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, right? But in Prince George's County, Maryland, they will actually charge at least local county taxes for the parent-child deed transfer, because the county does not want to exempt that, whereas other counties do. So the costs are going to be, I said, every sort of cost, in order for me to come up with a quote, the costs are going to be quite different. So anyways, that's why I need you to complete that questionnaire, because it helps me figure out exactly how much things are going to cost and give you a quote. Step three, free quote and retainer agreement. So what I will do is I'm going to send you, after I've reviewed your questionnaire, from there I'll send you a free quote. And also, and if you like that quote, then I will send you a electronic retainer agreement. And you can review that and decide to retain us or not. It's no obligation either way. Up until now, you haven't paid anything until you decide to retain us to draft the deed, in which case, the fee will be due, whatever it is. Step four. So step four is draft the deed. So I draft the deed and then I send it to you for your approval. I can usually get a deed done within 48 hours. And I also draft any other required paperwork, such as affidavits and intake sheets that may be required. For example, if it's let's say if it's a spousal deed, I may need to draft the spousal affidavit or something along those natures to make sure that we get the required exemptions. And anyway, so I'll send that documentation to you, usually via email. And if there are any changes, and of course, then at that point you can review it. You let me know if there are any changes that need to be made. You let me know, and then I make those changes, and then I send it to you for a second round, essentially, until we get it right. So step number 5, the notarization and collection of necessary documents. So after you've approved the final deed, the client, you would need to have the deed notarized by the grantor. Now, the grantor may be you, it may be someone else if you're getting the property deeded to you. Nevertheless, it needs to be notarized. And it's usually the deed, but there may be other documents that need to be notarized as well. Again, if there's, like, let's say a spousal affidavit or parent-child affidavit, it probably needs to be notarized as well. Anyway, so after that, the deed and the necessary documentation is signed and notarized, at that point, the client usually mails it back to, especially now in these COVID times, they usually, at that point, they usually would just mail the package back to us and any additional paperwork that's required. They will also send, and if transfer taxes are due, they usually send us a check for to cover the transfer taxes as well. So we make sure that the transfer taxes get paid when we file the deed. Now, again, that is if transfer taxes are due. Step number six, the filing of the deed. So after we've collected all the information that we need from you, at that point we then file the deed with the required fees. Now we either file the deed in person or electronically. So usually the examiners approve the deed when we file it the first time, but sometimes the deed may be rejected for miscellaneous reasons, and at that point we will do our best to correct the errors and then file it again. I think, for example, one time I had a deed rejected because the client did not pay or the mortgage company wasn't quite up to date on the transfer taxes just yet. I think I filed the deed right between that period where the where the transfer taxes are due, and the mortgage company hasn't quite made the payment yet. So the county would not approve of the deed until that payment has been made. Anyways, so after the payment posted, at that point I was able to file the deed. So sometimes that happens. All right, so step seven. At this point, after the deed has been filed at land records, at this point, we just have to wait for the deed to be approved and recorded, essentially. Now, if I filed it electronically, it generally takes about 2 weeks and for things to get done, maybe even sooner. Electronic recordations, the electronic recording of deeds are fast. In fact, in DC, I've had deeds recorded the exact same day that I have filed. Maryland doesn't seem to move as fast as DC, so maybe I should update the slide to say 1 day for DC. But nevertheless, it could take longer than that as well. Anyways, but that is if I file electronically. Now, if I file in person, it has taken, I want to say, up to 90 days to get a deed recorded sometimes, so it can take a while. And that is it. That is the process of working with at least this DC and Maryland deeds attorney. Now, if you would like to work with me in the future on a deed for perhaps yourself or a loved one, here is, you can see my contact information. It is right there on the screen. So thanks for watching and take care.